Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to Indy Kart and NASCAR with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
The K1 Circuit Semi-Pro League. This is a competitive race series with 2 classes. Junior Series for those who are under the age of 18, and the Senior Series for those who are 18 or older. If you think you have what it takes, come out and prove your skills on League Night. Both schedules are live on the K1 Circuit website. Your Kart Chaser live feed will resume shortly.
All the way up to the finish line. Who is it going to be? And it's Sean Perez who wins in Crescent.
Ty Fisher wins $1,000 in KA100 Junior.
Alex Stanfield played it perfectly here. Told him to wait. Stanfield wins the Duffy in 2024 for TV Karts.
Amarillo Kart Complex is now the official distributor for TV Kart in the continental U.S. Become a dealer today.
Let's go race.
Come on, man. Hey, what's up, Caleb?
What's up, Brandon?
You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I want to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
A winner in OKN Stars! Take your driving to the next level with one-on-one coaching from 2024 OKN Stars champion, Paulie Massimino. Kart rental options are available if you'd like to keep yours at home, and drivers in all classes are welcome, from Briggs 206 to Mini to K100 and X30. With in-depth data analysis, onboard video footage review, and lead follow on-track sessions, each private coaching session will see you end as a more complete driver than when you started. Book your coaching session now.
This is
Welcome everyone to the afternoon session for the Indy Karting Challenge. Today we're here in Whiteland, Indiana once more as we get set to go. Welcome once more for the Indy Karting Challenge here from K1 Circuit Whiteland. It's the afternoon session and it's now rolling live here on Kart Chaser. I'm Justin Pritz alongside Taylor Burris as we begin an afternoon of racing. Today, it's the Micros, the Minis, the 206 Medium, 206 Junior, KA Senior and Masters, and the 206 Legends and Supermasters will all hit the racetrack in their respective groups. 6 groups of racing series ready to take shape here, Taylor, as this afternoon is nice, hot, warm, and ready for some battling.
Absolutely, Justin. It's going to be an exciting one to watch here as the field is only getting kicked off with their first couple of laps of qualifying here as James Fox, Grayson Wyatt, and Diesel Maxwell lead us in this qualifying segment. And I got to say, with these drivers here in the micro division, it's going to be one to watch. Of course, we saw all three of these drivers competing earlier today in the morning session. James Fox is your points leader after winning the opening round. And then, of course, we will see if Grayson Wyatt, his teammate out there who picked up the win from the previous round, we'll see what they can do. So they're both 1 for 1. Who will end up on the top step of the podium today?
That's the huge question mark, I think, for many people. James Fox, Grayson Wyatt, and Diesel Maxwell are the Micro Swift drivers in this class. And earlier today, James Fox outright dominated. There's no other way to put it. He dominated the race that he took part in. Now you have Wyatt, who's looking to keep up with him in the pace for the qualifying session here. Right now, it's Wyatt at the top of the board by about half the tenth of a second or more. Those two looking very mightily close. You see them on track.
Yeah, these two are going to put on one stellar fight to the finish here when we get set for heat racing action and the finals later today, I have to say, as the two top kart, but Grayson Wyatt is looking to try to pick up the notch a little bit and see what he showcases here as we watch him and James Fox leading the charge here in this qualifying session. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in this session as they work their way through the final couple of corners. Out of the final corner and across the line, can Fox answer? He's got a little bit of time to pick up, about 0.07 of a second as they cross the line. Fox to the top of the leaderboard with a 45.671, nearly 3/4 of a second ahead of Grayson Wyatt.
Yeah, right now, remember, James Fox is your points leader in this series. Fox started off the season with 3 consecutive victories, including 2 heat races and 1 final. But the last final, that was in the rainy session, he finished in 4th. Still picked up 170 points, though, to have that lead by a sizable margin over Diesel Maxwell, who finished 2nd in the rainy final. Grayson Wyatt had won that race that day, but did not take part in the opening round of the season. Hence why the 5 machine is lower down in the points behind Patrick McNeely and Miles Hale, who are both not here today. So in our words, great opportunity for the 5 machine to join the conversation for the championship after missing the opening round, as you see these drivers continue to navigate around the circuit here in Whiteland.
Absolutely, as the field works their way over for the final couple of corners here. 45 seconds left to go. James Fox looking to try and see if he can sweep the weekend here in his two divisions that he competed in as he comes through. Really good run across the start-finish line. And does he improve? He does not. But let's see about his teammate Grayson Wyatt. No, he does not improve either.
Looks like they may have reached a cap, or they're trying to cool the tires for one more push lap here. They built a lot of separation on the racetrack in general. Last time by, Fox was 1 second quicker than the 5 machine on the racetrack. They should see the checker flag coming up here for the Micro Swifts. As we continue on to see what they do. Remember, when it comes to these drivers, classifications for the Micros, they are 7 to 10 years old in terms of the class structure for those respective drivers. So, checker flag now waves. Fox does hold on to the pole. Grayson Wyatt in second, and Diesel Maxwell rounds out the 3 drivers in this class to start things off for the afternoon. Here's a look at them on the interval. 1.5 seconds that separation, Taylor.
Yeah, this is just going to show how well James Fox is going to be here today. Grayson can probably keep pace with him in the early stages, but he's got to find a way to make some adjustments to be prepared in order to have a good run in the final stages of the race.
Next up in the order, it's going to be the Mini Swifts. Minis have a few drivers ready and sorted out here. They were grouped together with the Micros in the practice session. The Minis had 5 take part. Right, Seminole had led the way in the Mini Swift final practice over Christopher Heinzen, Blake Martinez, Jackson Jessup, and Ari Berger, I should say. Ended up not setting any times, though, on the board in the session. Keep in mind, in this championship, Blake Martinez actually has the points lead here after a podium finish in the second round of the season in the rain. It was Daniel Dragunov who picked up the win last time, Kason Hendrickson who won the first time. Both of those drivers not on that initial list for today. Here we go. It's time for Mini Swift qualifying to set up their grid here for this afternoon. 5 minutes once again up on the clock.
Yeah, last time out that we raced here with the Mini Swifts, it was Daniel Dragunov and Kason Hendrickson who won the races last time out. We look like to have about 4 or 5 karts here in your Mini Swift division. And as they work their way around the circuit, we'll see who are some of the fan favorites that are going to be competing in today's event as they come across the start-finish line to start their first flying laps. I see Heinzen, Simonelik out there, Blake Martinez, who we saw earlier this morning, also doing the double duty here today, and Jackson Jessup in the 62 machine. Could have sworn I saw one more kart out on the track. There he is, Ari Berger, also there, ready to go. So total looks like 5 karts ready to take onto the track here today.
So we'll see where the times now fall around the racetrack. It's going to be interesting where they fall. Mind you, the fastest times in the practice session were in the 45-second bracket for the Minis today. They'll start things off in the 46 seconds, though. Blake Martinez does jump up to the 45s as we have a spin. The rest of the field able to gather up. That was Heinzen, who had a bit of a slide around and will lose some time on the track. Will have to reset, but no help for Draft in the pack.
Absolutely here as they continue to work their way around the circuit. Alec Heinzen has a little bit of struggling to do. He's trying to see if he can pick himself up after being currently dead last in the point standings for the Mini Swift category. He's needing to pick up a few points here. Berger has moved up to P4, and Jessup has quite a bit of work to do. I believe he might be stopped out there somewhere on the track where he's pulled it in.
We'll see where things go now as Martinez puts up a lap time in the 44.9s. Right now staring at center screen, that's Heinzen. That's time by 51 seconds as a result of the spin. It's going to take some moments to be able to recover that. The rest of the drivers currently at full pace on the other side of the circuit. We see those drivers line up, single file, with 2 minutes to work with up on the board. And qualifying can be such an art form to get it done right here, Taylor, because track position is everything. It's about trying to find that limitation on speed without pushing over the limits and crashing your kart, but also making sure you don't burn up the tires while trying to get the right window timed up on the temperatures.
Absolutely here as the field works their way around, and we got a little bit of a tow coming up to play here for these two drivers that we see on screen. That is Martinez, and I believe that might be Simonelli right there in the mix, as those two are trying to just get a good draft from the both of them to help boost their times up just a little bit with 1.5 minutes to go. So far, we might see a good run from Martinez as he gets a good run slipstream out of the final corner across the line. He will go. Does he improve? What about Simonelli? As Martinez improves majorly with a 44.5, half a second faster than Simonelli, as Heinzen does not improve. Neither does Berger or Jessup.
Look around up the session here in the next couple minutes or so. You know, Martinez looking for the double top step of the podium day today. What was done this morning, remember, he had to fight to be able to get that heat race win that really set him up for a finals victory in his morning class. Now his afternoon class will really see if he's going to be able to do so here. Looks to be on the pace by half a second. That time by, no improvement. They'll have one more time around to be able to set their pole.
Coming through here, no improvements yet, but this should be the final lap in this qualifying session for the Mini Swifts. Martinez having a good start to it as he's trying to see if he can improve upon it a little bit more, give an extra cushion. Berger moves up a little bit with a 45.558 last time by. Still about a second off the pace for him at the moment.
Checker flag waves. Martinez coming across the stripe, closes up by increasing his time to 0.6 up over Simonelli. Berger in third spot, Heinzen in fourth, Jessup in fifth, unless there's a late second swap here. Looks like that's going to be how things run as they wave the checker to this session. Looks like indeed that will be the case here. For most of these drivers, no changes outside of what you've seen on your screen. So 2 qualifying groups already complete here for this afternoon session. Your thoughts here, Taylor, as a lot of these drivers looking to back up the speed. Like Martinez starts off in the right category for that as we now move to 206 medium.
Yeah, this was a really exciting one to see for Blake Martinez. He is making it in the right direction in order to sweep the weekend in both the categories that he raced in, both the 206 Sportsman as well as the Mini Swift category. So we'll see now what will happen in the 206 Senior Medium category as they are about to open up the gates. I believe Mr. Braden Heber looking to also try to see if he can sweep the weekend in 206 category racing, as he won in lights this morning and now looking to go out here in the mediums in order to take another checkered flag for his.
Still have a couple more moments until they get the clear. Braden Heber comes in as the points leader for this series. 470 points after picking up a win in the final last time out of the rain. Nick Patton comes in today second of the points, 429 on the season. He finished third last time out. Nicholas Nossman in third with 427. Levi Wilbur in the top 4 with 425. And Logan Lynch rounds out the top 5 in the standings, coming in 411 total points on the season. Andrew Goldman is the last of the full season competitors so far. Off and away And a lot of these drivers making sure they get some heat in the tires first before they start pushing. Braden Heber preferring to be on his lonesome at the front of the field. Others preferring to stay grouped together here to start off this qualifying session for this group.
We got Burpo out there, Cami Pfister, Nicholas Knotzman, Stephen Taylor, McCorkadale, your opening round winner, and Andrew Goldman, who will join out there on the circuit. 7 karts, as Heber looks to try to see if he can calculate and get himself a pole position here in the senior medium.
See that separation building up around the circuit again. You know, Braden Heber was very fast. And whenever he drives, he's had to battle a bit more in the senior class this season when it comes to his back and forth affair. Seen him go back and forth as well in Cincinnati. Last time out, had some intense fighting there. Coming up short last time out. He raced over in Cincinnati last month. Corkadale, though, picked up a win in round 1 of the season in this series. He's top of the board right now with a 46 flat, and the 8 definitely has a big challenger based on what we've seen with McCorkadale in his earlier class too.
Yeah, McCorkadale ended up beating Heber in the opening round of the championship earlier this year, and in an amazing fashion, these two battle it out. McCorkadale didn't compete in the second race of the season, but it looks like they're going to go back at it once again here for round number 3 in the 206 medium, as we see Heber now retake the pole position with a 45.8, and McCorkadale tries to respond with a 46.4, still in second place. But still a lot of work to do, as Matt Burpo is sitting P3. Knotzman, Pfister, and Goldman move up a couple of positions, as Stephen Taylor is sitting in 7th. He's got a little bit of work to do, 1.8 seconds off the pole.
McCorkadale just passing karts one by one in the qualifying session. What's working together when you can just pass people, right? Or pass Cami Pfister in that move previously. See if that impacts the time here. Braden Heber 45.4. Corkadale now has some clean track to work with at least. He did lose 4/10 with that pass. And to you, what is the preference? Do you prefer to have the carrot on the stick? I ask this each time to someone, but everyone's opinion is different. Some like to chase the driver in front. Some people like clean space. What do you prefer?
When it comes to this style of qualifying with these 206, I would like to have a little bit of a toe. So that way, one, it can help pull me on the straightaways, give a little less work to give on the engine, and give me that little extra speed boost. But you just got to be careful, like we saw right there between these two right here, as they are under qualifying. You got to be careful of mistakes that the driver you're chasing or following doesn't make mistakes either.
Great point as we continue on with about a minute to go in the qualifying session. Corkadale last time by did pick up the pace and clean space to a 45.6. The benchmark 45.421 at the moment. Others in the group, Burpo in 3rd, Stephen Taylor still holding on to 4th, gained 2 spots last time by the stripe. Pfister, Knossman, and Goldman rounding out the entries, and you can tell how fast McCorkadale is with how much he put away from these 3 on screen. Just absolutely ran away by 15 kart lengths over the course of 2-3 laps. McCorkadale will keep an eye on the pylon. Was there a change? No, he slowed it down. Might be making a charge one more time, though. May have tried to cool down the tires for one more lap.
It's going to be critical here if he can find a way to kick it up a little bit, as we will see it's about 2/10 separating your top 2 in the pole position area. Knossman, though, picking up 3 positions from that qualifying session with a 46.25, still about 8/10 off the pace as checker flag comes out.
Checker flag waves. Braden Heber with a 45.421, still at the top of the board, making a 45.313. 3/10 is the pickup needed from McCorkadale. Can he get the pickup? No, he doesn't even improve He only gained about a tenth or so compared to his previous lap, but not better than his personal best. Nicholas Nossman did gain, though, to get up to third. Pfister to fourth, Burpo in fifth, then Taylor and Goldman, the way they round up 206 Senior. And that's a look once again at the running order for our 206s. Once again, and how they lined up here in this field. 206 medium closed up there. So, next up in the running order are the 206 juniors. And the younger drivers now looking to battle 206 junior Jordan Lapham, who had some struggles in his earlier race, led the way, actually, in the final practice for 206 junior earlier today. Evan Patton was second. Nico Santos and Parker Dunn, top four. Carson Benjamin in fifth. It's expected to be pretty close up front, potentially, Taylor. The top five were separated by just 3/10 in final practice.
Can't go wrong with that. Looking forward to seeing the battle that's about to kick off, and we will see who will be the one at the top step that will lead us to the green later on this afternoon, as gates are about to be open in about 1 minute. And we see the race officials checking the watch. Open gate 1, gate 2, and away we go, as Parker Dunn will lead them out onto the track in that number 7.
We're getting to work to warm up these tires and get up to speed quickly. Again, one driver is in the grass, another cut to the right in the backdrop, so they really try and put some heat into the rubber before they go full push and full send here. And that's going to be important to make sure you get that heat up, as we talked about. A lot of these drivers working hard to put some heat in those tires for the push laps.
Yeah, trying to get as much built up in there to get themselves up to tire temperatures and to tire pressures as they work their way through. It's Dunn, Benjamin, Wade, Santos, Evan Patton, Lapin, and Maximus Stewart and Maxon Kleb, who are out there leading the charge. 8 karts for this action here today. Parker Dunn, we touched on a little bit, one of the ones to keep an eye on. He currently sits 4th in the championship after a 7th and a top 5 finish from the past 2 rounds. Evan Patton, of course, your points leader, currently the 5th kart out on the track. He has a heat race win, a podium and 2 podiums. So looking to see what he can do. I'm trying to see, do we have Stoner or Anthony? No, we do not. So we will have a new race winner here today after the action has concluded.
Good opportunity for some different front runners. Jordan Lapham jumps to the top of the board, 47.695 to start things off for this session. Evan Patton was in the 47.7 to begin things in their respective part of the group, as they all pace themselves. Jordan Lapham, we've seen earlier on, has talked about, finished last in his class. The new gen Autosport machine. It's one of the drivers that has been running for the organization for a little while now. Is now in year number 3, if you add up the years. His favorite memories over the years include running up front and being able to win from said front of the field. As general as that may sound, for some, it's as simple as, can you set the pole? Can you then win from the pole, Taylor? It's harder than you think in some cases, because you never know if there's going to be a mistake that costs you the race lead.
Absolutely, Justin, and that's one of the things you have to be careful of when it comes to starting up front, because even though you can control the start of the race, you got to be prepared that people may make a mistake while going into that first corner. Currently, right now, it is Nico Santos who holds the pole position right now with a 46.940, just about 0.04 of a second over Evan Patton, who is looking to try to see if he can get his first win of the season, as he is leading the point standing. He did pick up a heat race win, just looking for that feature, as Jordan Lapin moves up to the top with a 46.4.
They've been able to go up once again. So top 4 make it top 5 in 6 or so in this line. Almost squabble away on the racing line. Still under 2 minutes to work with. Evan Patton's been very competitive this season. Nico Santos dropped 2 spots last time at the run at the stripe. So we look to see they shuffle Nico Santos, one of the AMAX racing machines, up there on the podium for now, as looks like they're starting to squabble a lot a bit. They are battling like it's a race lead right now up front of the pack. No major shakeups as a result of that change up front.
No major. Patton does improve his time to a 6.61. Still quite a bit of work to do here with just about under 0.2 of a second with under a minute to go. A lot can happen here. Maximus Stewart is also improved upon his lap time, but still about 0.7 of a second away from pole. But how about this? Everyone under a second difference between the pole and 8th place.
Very close is what you can say about that one. Very close. Still 30 seconds to work with. One more lap to go for the drivers. Will there be any shakeups this time? Another change in terms of Nico Santos' time. That gets him up to second in the 34 kart. Looking great for him in this session. Patton dropping down a spot. No one late last time by. Also picked up 3 positions with a 47 flat. The benchmark is still a 46.4 for the 112. Here they come to try and close out the 206 Juniors qualifying session. So far, qualifying has been going by with a breeze. 4 sessions going to be complete. This run to the stripe. The 112 looking to secure pole. Will there be a change? Patton improves. Benjamin improves. Big improvement for the 112. They've been able to jump up to secure his pole by 0.2 of a second over Patton and Benjamin. Santos and Wade, the top 5 done. Max and Cleve, followed by Stewart in the field. So we'll talk about a 206 Junior running over Taylor. The 112 setting the bar.
Setting the bar indeed, and it's going to be an exciting one here because we just saw how much they compressed, how much that they were really putting on a good show here as they work their way around the circuit. But so far, we'll see how it goes in the heat race, but it's time for the main class to keep an eye on, the KA category with their senior and master multi-class division.
Yes, indeed. And earlier today, there was only one KA master. That was Josh Ola Nelson, who took part in the KA Masters practice. It was in KA Senior Austin Olds who led the way in the session over Blake Finley. Lane Gibbs was third, 4/10 back, and then there was some separation for the rest of the field. So, how have things gone in the championship, we'll say, when it comes to KA Senior? They get the gates just about ready to go. AJ Lund has been the points leader this season for them over Raider Santos. Last time out, Lund picked up the win. Santos finished in second in the final. Away we go. Now we see who will be on track here for some good runs. By the way, your KA Masters have only had a grand total of 2 starters on the season. That being Simon Alec and Nelson for them. And they had no point scores officially who took part last time out in KA Masters. We'll see how today plays out for that class with only 1 in final practice. We're underway for qualifying. And it's been competitive so far out there with the bar being raised by these drivers. Taylor, we see where the bar goes here this afternoon.
Absolutely, we'll see how this all plays out for them, and I think a lot of things that we're going to be excited to see about amongst these drivers as they work their way through. Keeping an eye to see how it all plays out, but Gibbs, Finley, Santos, and company. There you see Austin Olds out there on the track as well. Curious to see what he will be able to do here in this event as they work their way through and get set for the opening round of qualifying here in this segment.
First driver's putting up times. Blake Finley of 42.3 sets the benchmark early. Can confirm here only one Masters driver in the field today. That is going to be your your 21 Kart in Nelson in the field, by the way. But Austin Olds is the one setting the benchmark. He's one of the last people in the line. Austin Olds, name that we've seen pop up in the region in WKA competition. Raced since the age of 6, based in the state of Indiana. He's raced in a lot of competitions at a lot of major racetracks over the years. When it comes to his career, he's gone back and forth now on the board with Finley, at least to start this qualifying session.
Absolutely. The entire Olds family and the organization that they work with, MPG, always a favorite in amongst the community as they put on some stellar drivers. Of course, you got Chase Jones out there, one of the owners of the MPG group, putting up some great results for this organization. For sure, see them compete in some of the top classes here, along with Stars, USPKS, and several other divisions as they get themselves ready to go, heading over here. But with 2 minutes to go, half a second separates Olds and Finley here at this event.
Yeah, one of the drivers just racing in Stars recently, and Olds in that case. Half a second, make it 7/10 up for one of those top drivers in the ranks in the pro levels. Showing why he's one of the better names when it comes to the national scene these days as of 2025 in karting here in the United States. Also of note, Nelson in his class did put up a 42.6 so far in that session. In terms of checking on how things have gone so far for them, you see Nelson in the blue Kart right in front of Olds. The difference in speed, 1.6 seconds in class speed. A lot more straightaway speed for Olds in his kart.
Yeah, of course, for Austin, the last time out with the Stars Championship Series with their season opener at Charlotte, finished in the top 5 for him in the OKN category. So looking to try to pick up the pace here and have another good result for him here at his home track.
Absolutely. Looks to be in a great rhythm here. The gap is now down to just a 10th as Lane Gibbs has picked it up a notch. You can see just how much he pulls away down the straightaways in these KA chassis in the Sins once more. No change on the board. We'll see if Gibbs is able to chip away any more in these next 30 seconds or so. Only one more time around here, Taylor.
Yeah, he's getting ready to come up to the start-finish line here momentarily in that number 4 machine. Let's see what he can do as he comes across the line. And it does go to a 41.144 personal best, but not enough to challenge for the pole position.
Looks like we're coming up to the end as these drivers come across the stripe here. Checker flag waves in the session as they come across there. Olds did not improve once again. Lane Gibbs last time by still did not see any swap around on his time. Only Nelson technically has taken the checker flag though at the stripe itself. It was within a second. Olds still pushing, trying to improve. Gibbs just took the checker flag. He did not improve upon the 41.144 he had previously set. The rest of the drivers went out, take that checkered with them right here. Checker flag waves. Olds improves into the 40.7s. That is 4/10 quicker than the rest of the field.
How about that? He found the pace, and he is showing he is here to put on a show here today. Austin Olds, MPG Kart Republic to the turn of the field.
Extremely impressive once again from his kart here today to be able to charge up to the top of the board. Gibbs, Finley, Santos, Van Dyke, top 5. Then it's going to be Gillen, Samanowik, And Nelson is the only master driver today. Now our next grouping of drivers, this is our last qualifying pack. 206 Legends and Supermasters. They are grouped together here, ready to perform. So there were 3 Legends and 6 Supermasters earlier today. J. Brian Williams led the way in final practice for 206 Legends over Jason Irvin and Matt Kirk. Then Supermaster, Joseph Stevens, William McLaughlin, Danny Cutshaw, Tom Stevens, Richard Lemasters, Chris Whitaker all took part in 206 Supermaster practice earlier in this one. So 2 different groups ready to go here. But your Legends and Supermasters, to see what they're able to do. Mind you, the Legends are 50 and over, your Supermasters are 60 and over.
Or in other words, the crazy old men as they make their way out onto the circuit. Here they come to start their first timed event for quali. And as they cross the line here, Brian Williams, McLaughlin, Cutshaw, Stevens, Irvin, Whitaker, all 6 drivers ready to go. And then we have Richard Lemasters out there tail end along with the rest of the field. Of course, Lemasters, your points leader in the Supermasters division. And in 206 Legends, it's Tom Harleman, who is not here with us this weekend, so could be a possibility of some changes in the standings because Chad King is also not here, so Mr. Brian Williams may have a shot of taking the top step and have a shot of gaining some points in the championship here.
Yeah, another good opportunity, as we said, to be able to pick up potentially great points for the championship standings here. So we'll see where the times start. 47.5 is the benchmark by J. Brian Williams in the Legends. Supermasters starting things off in the 47-second to 50-second bracket in the session. So we'll keep an eye and see what happens amongst these classes here as time now goes on. But J. Brian Williams, right over here, also competed recently in Route 66 Sprint Series competition. Actually picked up the Hardest Charger Award, and that was held at this facility as that Hardest Charger.
Can't go wrong with that here, and really good job for him to work his way through the field in this series because the Route 66, one of the top regional championships out there in the Midwest.
Now the question is, this is going to be a half-joking question. Do you say route or route? It depends on the area, right? I will say it depends on the culture, sometimes of the route or route.
It really does, depending on the area. I mean, for me, I've always called it the Route 66 series, and I know some people do call it the Route 66, etc., because of how it says the route. But a lot of things still to come for them, but keeping an eye here on qualifying. They have their next round coming up in June as they head up to Plymouth, Wisconsin, to the Briggs & Stratton Motorplex on June 13th to the 14th. Then they will go back at it at Norway in Illinois before wrapping up the championship in Dousman, Wisconsin at the Millwright Raceway.
Not a bad schedule across the different states. But so far, J. Brian Williams, the overall leader for all drivers, his class lead is more than 2 seconds. Danny Cutshaw leads the Supermasters in a tighter qualifying session. William McLaughlin is within a 1/10 of a second of that top time. And Supermaster Tom Stevens is third, though. He's half a second or so back of the pole time. So it's looking like J. Brian Williams is going to be really good in the race. Let's put it that way to close out the day. It's going to be the question, though, how things go in Supermaster, because things seem a little bit more tighter, at least with the top 2, to fare things out with the way qualifying's going.
Absolutely, that seems to be the case indeed here as they will work their way through 45 seconds, so at least one more lap here for these competitors as they come out of the final corner. We are now watching, that is the 75 of Brian Williams. He comes across the start-finish line to conclude this lap. He has one more to go, and he improves a 46.252 here on lap number 5. Jenny Cutshaw does not make any improvements. Neither does William McLaughlin. Those two are your front row for the Supermasters division. Can anyone answer? Irvin does not improve upon his lap time. What about Joseph Stevens or Richard Lemasters? Neither one either make improvements on their qualifying times, as well as Joseph Stevens picks up one spot as Chris Whitaker, first one across the line with a checker flag with a 49.915.
Just looking to finish out the session easily here. J. Brian Williams finished things out right here with a 46 flat. 1 second clear of anybody else on the racetrack. William McLaughlin takes away Danny Cutshaw's pole, though, with a 47 flat. So there's that trading blows just mentioned the possibility of, with the 56 and the 1 today. Tom Stevens and Joseph Stevens overall top 5. Then Jason Irvin, it'll be next in the legends. Lemasters, Whitaker, circle the rest of the order as they run in this session. It's time to send things over behind the paywall. So far, things looking uber competitive for our top drivers. We'll see how the Indy Karting Challenge fares on the other side of the paywall. We'll see you in just a moment. You're watching Kart Chaser from K1 Circuit Whiteland.